Are you a talented sportsman? Are you one of those youngsters that have got the potential of dominating your discipline in the next couple of years? If you are one, just brace yourself, because potentially you could be getting a scholarship from the National Democratic Congress if they are voted into power later this year. That is a portion of their manifesto. That is one of the promises they are making to the sports community. Also, they are saying that they will be paying salaries of footballers. They want to augment the salaries of Ghanaian players in the Ghana Premier League. They have a 10-point manifesto for sports. And this was put together by a 3-man committee. Last week, you would recall that when we were here, we took a detailed look at what the MPP and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia brought to us. And today as well, we'll be bringing you what the NDC have brought, because that manifesto is quite detailed. They want to build stadia across all the regions in this country. Achu, if you read his hindsight on that of the MPP, probably we expected another one on the NDC as well, because we are in a season of promises, because we are about to be ushered into elections. Just a few months away. So people who need power are giving us a plethora of promises, and the sporting sector is an area that has not been left out. We'll also be taking you to your favorite grounds where the Premier League happened. Chelsea, well, they went to Wolverhampton Wanderers and rather devoured the Wolves as they won by 6 goals to 2. Manchester United suffered a defeat. First defeat for Eric Ten Hag this season as they lost to Brighton and Hove Albion. Manchester City, wow, Erling Haaland started the season with a hat-trick. We've got these and many more here, plus Ghanaian teams qualifying to the next phase of the CAF Champions League. And later in the show, my colleague Abdul Karim Benin will be here to bring us what Ghanaian players have been doing in Europe. This is SportsZone, and I am Muftar Nabila Abdul. This show is proudly brought to you by Syntex Tank. A strong, a tough, and also Kivo 4-in-1 Gary. Soakings are easy, very simple. If you are hungry right now, just go out to the nearby shop, a provision shop, and you get yourself satisfied. And Guinness Brewery Limited, they are making it possible for us to bring you SportsZone tonight. I am back in a jiffy. Hey, tank, tough tank. Welcome back from the break. This is SportsZone. I am Muftar Nabila Abdullah. This show is probably brought to you by Water Tank. Have you seen the numerous layers I have in here? Yes, Syntex Tank. Are strong, are tough, are strong, and are tough. So what is the preferred color that you need? Is it blue like the one I'm having right here in my house? Is it black? Is it green? Which color do you prefer? Syntex Tank has it. And also, what is the guarantee that you need? Syntex Tank has it as well. And what kind of inner layer do you need? Do you need a double, a triple, quadruple? As many layers as you want, Syntex Tank has it too. So remember, no matter your water needs, Syntex Tank has it. So Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. We've got so many branches across the country. So for you to get in touch with us, you call 0244 335168. 0244 335168. We've got over 300 agents nationwide. So if you need one, just get in touch via 0244 335168 and we'll get you one. No matter the inner layers you need, no matter the color you need, Syntex Tank has it. Or you can also get in touch with us via social media, which is at Syntex Ghana, or you can shop online at www.syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, air strong, air tough. And also, Kivo 1 in Gary. Eating Gary has become quite easy, right? Just go step out to the shop near you, and you get Kivo Gary. There's milk, there's granite. Others prefer to call it peanut. There's sugar. There's milk, everything. It makes it quite easy for you. So, are you feeling hungry? If you're feeling hungry, there's something quick that you can get to eat. And that thing is Kivo Gary. Kivo 4-in-1 Gary soaking mix is your hangar buddy. So it has all you need, and it is inside a pack. So all you need is just to add water, and you're good to go. No stress, just a delicious taste for you. You enjoy it at the office, boarding house, home, or anywhere you want. It is available in various markets and retail shops nationwide. Give it 4-in-1 Gary Soakings mix. Soakings are here easy. This advert is FDA approved. And Winner Big, Catch the Flow, as well as Guinness Ghana, they have made it possible for us to be here tonight to bring you everything you need to know about the Ghanaian sporting space and beyond. As I mentioned earlier, last week, the NDC brought us, the MPP rather, brought us a plethora of promises, what they want to do for sports. And on Saturday, the NDC also brought us some. Well, as usual, Joy Sports has got an editorial, and the man who punched holes and took a look at how the MPP crisscrossed their promises is standing by. Victor Achutamaklo, how are you?
We live by the mercies of God.
VAT.
How are you?
Are they promising to take out VAT, or they going to give a flat VAT?
They've said quite a bit. Many things that do not excite and do not move the needle, and one thing that promises hope. So we'll get into that and also look at the feasibility of a lot of the things that they've said they will do. Mm-hmm. They were in power. The current flag bearer was in power. He was the president of this country the last time between 2012 and 2016. Yeah. So he had the opportunity to actually implement some of the things that are in this manifesto. Because just like the NPP, the NDC also repeated a number of the things that they promised back in 2012 that they failed to deliver. They reworded those manifestos, and as Sicho said on Friday, microwaved those failed promises nicely and then threw them back at us, albeit with different wording.
As you just mentioned, Sicho is in the studio.
Yes.
Sicho Fair.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
You good?
I'm great.
You look good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you there, Charlie. No wonder Karim these days in dressing there. I saw him this afternoon. I was like, hey, Karim. Yeah, it's just a copy. Wow. It'll look fine.
In life, you have to try and learn bits and pieces from everybody.
You look,
I met.
See, you be that kind of person there. You remember those days when you were in secondary school? You iron your shirt. It is still crumbled. Then you see Sicho in own. It looks very neat. And you wonder what happened to your own. It's not the same iron.
I remember I met one of my, I was the SLC president in SHS, so.
Which school?
For Penny Senior High. Okay. So I met one of my juniors. I couldn't even remember him or make him up because I was in Form 4 when he was in Form 1. He said, Senior, I want to say a very big thank you to you. I mean, I learned a lot from you, from the way you dressed. My head was swollen. I have a big head already. So imagine my head.
Oh, wow, I see.
When you already have a big head. So I was like, it's a good thing to hear.
Charlie, some of these things, yeah, when you wonder, you go iron your shirt. I'm sure many people can relate. You iron it. And those who were using the one you needed charcoal.
Yeah,
right?
the metal
one. Yeah, you go do. Iron it. You wear it the
go.
next day. It is.
You box iron.
I don't know. It's enough. Let's go to Achu. Achu, what do you have for us on your screen?
So when I saw this document, my first impression was not again. Come on, really.
Why?
Because, for 8 years, the NDC have been on the fringes. They've seen how the NPP have approached sports. Yeah. And more importantly, in the last 2 weeks, they've had opportunity to see the public's reaction to the NPP's manifesto and what they said about sports, right? I'm sure they themselves would have critiqued the NPP manifesto and what they said about sports and punched holes in it and perhaps looked at things that they would have done differently. Because that's what I would have done if I were in their position, right? And so when you put out a document, the expectation is that your documents that came later should reflect a certain appreciation of what the people's impression of what a manifesto on sports should be. Because if you aggregate the views that people have expressed on the NPP manifesto on sports, you can find some insults, undesirable. You can find some actual criticism. You can find some possible ideas that people think should have found its way onto the manifesto.
Okay.
Some of them may be good, some may not be good, but it's up to you to pick some of those things, fine-tune them, and see what you can do with them. And if you take those ideas, no one would know because it's not in the NPP manifesto anyway, right?
Okay. But wouldn't that also amount to the campaign team listening to the media too much or listening to radio?
Well, you're here to serve. If it is that indeed, if it is that you came to serve, you have to listen to the people. It will not hurt that having drawn up your own manifesto, you assess it partly based on the public reaction to the opponents and get a sense of what the people say they need. But more worryingly, when I look through this, it doesn't strike me as a lot of the products of a lot of stakeholder consultation or expert consultation.
So what is actually in it for you to arrive at this point?
So the very first thing they say they will do is to support the development of Colts Division 1 and 2 and the Ghana Premier League by augmenting the salaries of all registered footballers with allowances.
All registered footballers?
And I find that problematic because last time I checked, we have thousands of registered footballers in the country. Not all of them are on contract.
But do they know that even Colts players are now registered?
Yes. It doesn't mean that they are on a professional contract.
Okay.
Right. So if they are not on a professional contract, are you the one now to say that you are going to put a contract in front of them at Colts level and start paying them salaries? At Colts level, some of them are 14, some of them are 13, some of them are 16-year-olds. There is that. But the bigger issue with this policy for me is, if, say, I run a medical supply company, right, or I run a pharmacy, and I need to import goods and services just to keep my business running, why does someone like Alhaji Karim Gruza deserve the taxpayers' money in this regard any more than I do? Why does, just by virtue of the fact that the person is into football, become eligible to benefits like this, as opposed to, for example, someone who's running a health business?
No, as opposed to Kwesichum, who has hired that. They should come out.
Thank you.
Salaries. That is all.
Why does Ketokreku deserve my taxes any more than my father or Kwesichum, who employs me here? So, yes, you want to invest into football at this level, you want to support them, but it should be a bit more nuanced. We need to see the practicality of it and a concept that will not be rubbished the way we are going to rubbish this, because this will not fly. And I will not mince words, because it makes absolutely no sense to say that. And here's the other thing. Do your investment into these clubs now make you part owners? So government is going to essentially own a percentage in all of these clubs, or you are just going to throw money at these clubs and say, still retain your 100% shares?
Because these are businesses.
These are businesses. So yes, we love football, we love sports, we love football. We want government to have a certain level of inputs, a certain level of support, but it should not be in this form. Then they say, undertake emergency refurbishment of pitches, tracks, and other facilities at our national stadium in Accra, Kumasi. This is why I told you that they don't listen and they don't pay attention to anybody. If they did, the reaction to the NPP's manifesto would perhaps have gotten them to revise their notes on this matter. There is already the National Sports Authority. So unless you are going to create another agency for them to focus specifically on pitch. By the way, Muftau, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2016, November 2016, or was it in May, when President Mahama at that time inaugurated the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, there was a task force of a sort. I'm not sure about the exact nomenclature, but there was something of a sort to oversee the maintenance of these facilities that was supposed to be part of the National Sports Authority. So my expectation is that if you want to be president again, you reference that and tell us that you are going to expand what you started, which was not a deviation from what was existing norm, consistent with the statutes of this country or the constitution, because The NSA is the legally mandated entity to manage our infrastructure anyway. So the idea that you are going to set that aside, and just like the NPP, you are going to undertake refurbishment of all of these, essentially pitch and facility maintenance, which is the job of the National Sports Authority. This sounds very much like you're going to duplicate functions when there is a bigger issue of a poorly resourced, not supported National Sports Authority, right? And then they say they are going to pursue their long-standing policy of... Sishu, help me here. Sishu, when we say something is long-standing, what does it mean?
It's been there for a very long time.
It's been there for... So it's existed in their minds, but practically,
they've not executed.
They've not executed it. There's no, so when you tell me that it's long-standing, I cannot relate to you. International standard stadia in all regions. Again, this country is going through austerity. We are still with the IMF, right? Which means there are a number of things,
conditionalities we have.
There are a number of things we cannot do. There are certain projects we cannot embark on. So when you say that you are going to build international standard stadia in all the regions, you then have to tell us that this is how you intend to do it. This is how much it is going to cost you. This is how much you can raise to build these facilities.
As in where the money will come from.
Yes, it has to, because simply saying it's too vague, because we've heard this before. And before I go, I will tell you all of the things they promised in 2012 and what they did, the scorecard for that. I won't give you figures, but
to be fair, Achu, to be fair, I'm not sure any part of the IMF agreement stops Ghana from building new stadium.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying that our priorities are likely to be elsewhere.
But what if this is a priority for the government, who are controlling the resources?
And where is the money going to come from?
It is their discretion. Maybe someone might have already promised them that
is,
when we come to power, Sicho said he will build a stadium for Northeast region.
So to be fair,
to build a stadium.
So to be fair to the NDC and John Mahama, in the past they have actually been creative about funding some of these things. So for example, the Trust Sports Emporium, they got SNIT to build it. Right? It serves sports anyway. The Cape Coast Sports Stadium, and I think it began...
the Chinese government and the...
Yes, it began under the late Professor Mills administration. So they, in the past, at least there's evidence of two of the biggest facilities in the country to show that they can be creative around these things. That is the context that they need to introduce to some of these conversations, right? It shouldn't be me saying it. It should be Date or former President Mahama telling us that this is how I intend to do. So we have a conversation about some of these things and look at the practicality of what they are promising to do. Because there is a track record of governments, NDC governments, NPP government, that makes it difficult for us to trust them when it comes to these capital projects because the NDC has promised to do this before.
Okay.
Pursue our long-standing policy of establishing and then build more multi-purpose sports facilities to promote regional sporting events and inter-school competitions as part of our talent development policy.
Achu, can I give you a figure?
A figure for...
I just want to give you a figure.
Okay, go ahead.
Because this government have spent about 123 million Ghana cedis.
Yes.
In multi-purpose youth resource centers.
And only one is available. That context is important. Only one is available. And before, you see, we like to throw numbers about. A month after, in fact, in the very month that the president commissioned the Koforidua Youth Resource Center, we were looking for a place to train the entire country. We did not find one. In the end, the Black Stars Management Committee, Chris Houghton, the leadership of the playing body, had to make certain concessions and say, this does not befit what we would ordinarily like, but we'll still train on it. And then we had to go and rent a Brankesi. If after spending in excess of $3 million on the Koforidua Youth Resource Center, it is not good enough to host an 8-day or a 12-day Black Stars pre-tournament camp, you've wasted money.
It was not even 12 days, it was 8 days.
You've wasted money. That is why I'm not very excited when people bring up the youth resource centers as an answer to anything sports in this country.
But
because we have not been able to connect the facility with the needs on the ground.
But
So as it stands now,
okay,
it will host inter-schools games. As it stands now, it will host SuperZonals games. And that's the end of it.
So I remember in my conversation with Isaac Isiama in 2018, it was meant to help the local communities groom more talents, or young talents, and add more talent.
How?
By just making it available for them to come and train. It was not meant for the Black Stars to come and train them. It was not meant for any international team to come and train them. So it was meant to serve a specific purpose. That's why it is called a youth resource center.
The Black Stars
and not the Black Stars training ground.
The Black Stars needed only the playing surface and the changing rooms there. They needed, it's not as if there is some special infrastructure or some architecture that needed to be installed before they could. They needed only the playing surface and the changing rooms. If you tell me, after spending in excess of $3 million, that facility there cannot have a playing surface for the Black Stars to train. This is not for an international match where there are any sophisticated boxes you need to check before FIFA will send that white man in beard to come and approve the facility for you. Let's get serious, please.
Why did the white beard man get so? Why did he
ensure equitable investment in other national teams, such as women's football, teams, para sports? I like this one, but what is the assurance and how do I believe that indeed you are going to do this? Because for years, successive governments have neglected all other, in fact, neglected football itself. The only aspect of football that they are consistent with is the Black Stars. Our youth national teams, the coaches there don't even have contracts.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't even have contracts. Women's football, when they play and qualify for tournaments, it has to take a media campaign before the sports ministry will decide that they are going to pay them. And when they decide, they will slash the amount, and we'll all keep quiet because they've done their bits. The last time they did it, they promised $6,000 ended up paying only $4,500 to the ladies, and we all kept quiet.
What became of the $1,500? Who took that?
Bad debts. Bad debts. And you know the funny thing, the very actors who shout the loudest when in opposition are the ones who superintend over the wickedness, when they get into power. So in 2015, I was in Takrady when I heard of Isaac Isiama, how he gallantly and boldly walked to the M Plaza Hotel to essentially empathize with the Black Queens who had just come down from the African Games, won gold, and because the sports ministry had refused to pay them, by the way, it was John Mahama was president then. Because they had refused to pay them, Isaac Isiama made a big show, went there. Isaac Isiama became sports minister. The same issues happened. In fact, even when he left power, we've seen this year, we've seen how Dan Okranti and co have had to embark on a campaign to get the Black princesses, their debts paid to them. Even with that, the government has said, as for some $1,500 for each player, and nobody will do anything to them. They won't pay.
Let me just tell you a quick one there. On that very 2015 thing, right? It was something I covered extensively. So I have a very fresh memory of what transpired. Afiko Jaba. Do you remember the former
Jaba? Yeah, Otiko Jaba. Yeah.
She went there, she gave the players money, and described the government as a government that was not interested in the welfare of women. In fact, she made it a gender issue.
Gaining political capital.
Can you imagine the coincidence here, right? Let's go this way. Now, the Paralympic team comes back. John Mahama, who was president, and could have simply picked a phone to call his then sports minister, the late Mustafa Ahmed, and tell him, pay the girls, let them leave the hotel, because they were demonstrating. They said they were never going to leave. You could have simply picked a phone and called him and said, pay it. He did not. But guess what? The Black Challenge comes back, he makes that time, meets them, and gives them money. Meanwhile, when you were in power, the Black Queens didn't get anything.
So it's the same.
So politicians are brilliant when they are in opposition.
It's the same as Mustafa Yusuf getting upset because the national amputee team have gone to win gold. By the way, when they were going, everybody neglected them. But they come into Ghana, they've gone to see John Mahama, and then everyone loses their mind about it. Thank you for that, but that is politicians. So I have no issues with this, except that the neglect, as we like to say, of these national teams, it continues because there is no central fund to take care of all of these disciplines. That is why the finance ministry, they are not wicked, though. They have an entire country to fund. They are not wicked, but they have an entire country to fund. So when you come, based on the degree of importance, they will give you money. And unless it is the Black Stars, forget it. So when tennis goes there, in 2014, we nearly got banned by the International Tennis Federation because we could not pay affiliation fees.
Yeah.
And this wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, right? But we could not pay. But all of these things happen because there is no central fund. So if you have a central fund, that fund will have revenue sources. Those revenue sources will accumulate into a figure, right? You have a rough figure of how much the country has to spend on sports annually. That amount determines who gets what and what is done with what amount of money. So if you have, say, $40 million annually, you know that the areas where your best talents have to be football, track and field in athletics, boxing, right? And then you talk about the other disciplines where you occasionally do get some medals or win some trophies over there. But these are the areas. And so you are able to allocate them according to the level of promise and the track record over there. So without that, without a central fund that you can actually, if the money no day, money no day. If there is no money to go around, you can use all the Oxford English in the world, and still, in the end, nothing will get done. Now, they said they are going to...
These were University Sports College.
So this is the idea that I say excites me. The conversion of the assistants. Now, in its current state, the Winneba Sports College is failed. It does not exist. It does not serve any purpose. The only way is to find money, rebuild it, retool it, and make sure that you redefine its scope. But all of these ideas and all the plenty English we would like to speak about what ought to be done, it is money. So yes, it is good. They need to find the money for it, right, and get into that. But let's quickly move on to some of the things that they said in 2012.
But isn't it interesting that the MPP also say that? Not in this manifesto.
Yeah.
But we heard from Nanado talk about how Bottoman Sports Complex wants to be used for a university.
But they've ditched that idea because in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's manifesto, there is no mention of any sports university. There is no mention of it. So it is not part of his plan.
So what Nanado talked there, forget out.
See, if you wanted any more proof, that Bawumia and Nanado, they are...
It's sidestep and
No, he's completely sidestepping.
But there was something you didn't pay attention. Established sports centers. How different is that one from the
youth resource centers?
Yes.
So I'm going to mention that because they mentioned it in 2012 as well.
Oh, okay.
And they really weren't able to do that.
Okay.
Now, I'll take you back to some of the things the NDC promised under John Dramani Mahama as flag bearer to do in 2012, and whether or not they were able to. So when we mention them, at least if there is evidence of that in the country, or if there was evidence of that, you would remember, right? Because these facilities are all over, should be all over the country. In 2012, the NDC said they will develop lesser-known sporting disciplines. It's found its way into the 2024 manifesto. As I told you, it was an unmitigated disaster in 2012. And with all of the attendance issues, from Black Queens having to protest at the hotel, entire federations having their licenses suspended because they couldn't pay affiliation fees. That was the reality in under the NDC that time. So they've said they are going to do that again. I've told you under what circumstance that can happen or how they can achieve that. In 2012, they also promised improvement of community and institutional sport infrastructure by developing a further 20 multipurpose courts in selected district and educational institutions. So it was this idea that the NDC said they were going to do in 2012 that they failed to deliver. The NPP essentially took it, reworded it. In fact, so the NDC called theirs...
That would be quite unfair if you say the MPP took it. Maybe they also have such a plan.
I really don't mind. But what is important is that they attempted it. They've delivered one. I don't like the fact that in, 7 years, they've delivered 1 out of 10. And yesterday, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he lied. I think you've done one. You've come to stand in front. You haven't done...
His boss also said 6 were ready and they were going to commission.
They had...
So he was only repeating the words of his boss.
You see, I don't know who's misinforming them. Or if we are the ones who are not in the know, and you've constructed or you've somehow managed to complete some extra 5 somewhere, and we don't know, mention them. Let's go and follow them. But as it stands now, per the checks we have done, and I can say with all confidence, no media house has followed these resource centers any more than the Joy Sports team. Yeah. They've completed only one. That was in Koforidua last year.
And that one self.
It's okay. I don't want to lose any more friends.
You've lost friends already. Okay.
Oh, we have. In 2012, the NDC mentioned, so the multi-purpose courts that they said they were going to, they said 20 of them. The NPP said they are going to do 10. Or they were going to deliver 10 in 9 months. 7 years later.
About 6 years, please. It's 6 years.
It's in March. 7 years.
It's okay. in March 2018.
Fair enough. So this time around, they say they are going to build multi-purpose sports facilities to promote regional sporting events and So the governments or the former president needs to clarify to us the difference between this and what already exists. Right?
Sure.
If you are going to add value to these facilities, let us know. Because we cannot avoid, look, whether you say the government has wasted money on the ones that they've attempted and they are not doing or not, there is a conversation to be had about the investments that the NPP government has made, because government has to continue, right? So they need to tell Ghanaians what they intend to do if they win power about the 10 that the NPP have attempted to build, or the 9 remaining facilities, a lot of which now are completely deteriorated. If you go to the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, there's nothing there. I was there a couple of months ago. You would see only the concrete that has been put in place for the stands or for the seating area. Every other gains that were made. And that facility was about almost 90% complete. Yeah, but we've allowed it to...
And in fact, they said they were going to change the contractor and all that. I beg, let's move on.
Well, so John Mahama needs to tell us what the situation is, what he intends to do about the existing ones, and then and clarify if indeed he's going to build different ones. In 2012, they also promised a continuation of the program of providing sports stadia to regional capitals. One was delivered, and that was the facility in Cape Coast.
Yeah.
Yes, through the Chinese grants. In 2024, they are promising to pursue their long-standing policy of establishing international standard stadia in all regions. Again,
here what capitals? Now it's all regions, so it can be anywhere.
Again, Nasikano Wahi. What kind of stadiums are you looking to build? How much is it going to cost? Or how much are they going to cost? And where are the money going to come from? Like the wildfire trick in the famous Game of Thrones, you can only pull it off once. So this creative way of getting SNITs to build the Transport Emporium or the Chinese grants for the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, that can take care of 1 or 2 facilities at best. You can use some of these, maybe GNPC can sponsor one of these, right? Maybe TOR, right? They can sponsor 1 or 2 of these stadiums, but it will not be enough.
Ghana Gas.
Ghana, maybe, but it is not a plan you can spread across all 16 regions.
But some regions already have, so maybe the regions that I don't know.
Where I come from, we don't have. Volta region, we don't have. I come from 2 places, in fact, Volta region, and I stayed in Takoradi for 27 years. My place, we don't have a stadium. The Esipon Sports Stadium, no. What it is now, it is not a stadium.
And then you have, please.
It is not.
If we have something like that,
we will count. If we have, the only stadium we recognize is the one Goldfields built the last time. So that's the only facility that we will regard as a stadium in the Western region. So essentially, you have a lot of promises that do not necessarily touch home or attempt to resolve the teething problems in sports, right? A lot of the ideas that they have mentioned are ideas that on their own are not strong enough, but can support other ideas that they want to put in place. But as I said, the one that excites me most has to be the plan to extend or overhaul the Winneba Sports College and make it a university. That for me is a brilliant idea, right? And this idea about centers of excellence, which is going to be the final point for me, because, and Per our understanding of centers of excellence, if you look at the FIFA definition, you realize that it is something that may be a bit more expensive than what we are ordinarily used to. FIFA describes the centers of excellence as having facilities or established centers that have demonstrated medical, educational, and research expertise in the area of football. These include experience in the state-of-the-art diagnosis and treatment of injuries, aftercare of injuries, and most importantly, prevention of injuries, expertise in football-specific medical assessments, mental and psychological strategies, nutrition and anti-doping matters.
But teacher said this is long English.
And that is just for the area, of sports science in football, or football science, or football medics. I'm just opening people's minds up to the concept of a center of excellence and what it will take. The NDC says they want to implement one for sports, not just for football. Again, where is the source of funding?
I beg, you want to compare the two. I thought you do comparison of promises.
So as for this one, I won't add any views of mine. I'll just let the viewers form their own conclusion. So the NDC had said they would augment salaries of all registered footballers with allowances. The NPP has also said tax incentives for private sector investments in sport. In fact, they also said they will get the Ghana lotteries.
No, you move on. You see there.
Okay. NDC said refurbish sports facilities to international standards. NPP says establish sports development fund and upgrade surfaces of pitches to meet international. So they're basically talking about the same thing. NDC wants to establish international stadia in all regions. NPP wants to construct astroturfs for every constituency. NDC wants to build multi-purpose sports courts. They call their sports. NPP calls theirs resource centers. Scholarship for sports athletes, NPP says start Operation Olympics Glory Program. And then scholarship for sports talents. So 2 categories, professional athletes and then talents. That's what the NDC are saying. NPP says direct NLA and Gaming Commission to assist Premier League clubs. So the investors who have been betting, if the NPP government deducts from your winnings, then they'll go and give it to the NLA to use your money to pay some Premier League player.
No, but isn't it almost the same thing? The first one, and NDC promised to augment salaries.
It's the same.
It's almost the same.
The NPP is just telling you where that money is going to come from. They are taking from your pockets.
So the same tax they want, the same tax they want to scrap from the better people.
Yes.
They will scrap it.
So, but National Lottery Authority and Gaming Commission, where do they make their money from?
That one's still cha-cha.
So the NDC says scholarship for sports talents, invest in sports academies, upgrade the University of Education, Winneba College to modern university. The NPP says they will provide a bus for each one Premier League club, one bus. One Premier League club, one bus. And then they will build a 5,000-seater stadium for new regions, establish school sports secretariats, establish sports centers of excellence in Northern. This might be where there is a significant difference because the concepts are essentially the same, except that the NDC are elevating it to a whole new level. Yeah. But again, where is that money going to come from for them to do some of these things? Because when they tell you they are going to do it, ask them how, right? The final 3 have to be full NDC promises because theirs was just more voluminous than the NPP. Supports national athletes, pension schemes for national athletes and former players, equitable investment. In fact, they said they will support players after their careers have ended. Equitable investment in all national teams, support retired sports personalities. So essentially, this is what the 2 main parties who are going into the December elections are promising Ghanaians in the area of sport. And the question that I'm asking myself, and I'm asking everyone out there is, if you wanted to make a decision based on the policies or the ideas these 2 parties have essentially put out, which of these move the needle for you?
Okay, I don't have an answer. Come and have it, I don't have an answer for you. But that was quite a detailed one, Sicho. That was quite a detailed one. And it begs the question whether we can be hopeful about our sport.
Muftar, just like I said last week when we were talking about what the MPP had promised.
Yeah.
Manifestos look beautiful on paper. It reads nicely. Can be very nice music in your ears. It is the implementation of it that becomes, at times, a problem. And I have a feeling that both parties have not necessarily diagnosed the issues we've got in sports in Ghana. But there are two things that is in the NDC's manifesto that excites me. Every other thing, not so much. And for me, like I said, and I should mention it a lot of times, how is it going to be funded? What will be the source of funding for some of these things that they are mentioning? I know they'll tell you when they come into power, they'll tell us.
They'll cross
at times. And I said it last time that at times when you have the power that you can know where your inflows are. But for John Mahama, who has been in power before, he should perhaps have the idea. They also tell you that in the manifesto, they can't give you every detail, otherwise it's going to be a bulk. So manifestos are highlights of things they are going to do. So yeah, I don't like using phone on set, but permit me to use it today because I want to touch on a few things in the manifesto. Look, the NDC and the MPP, don't come and use our taxpayers' money to pay people's staff in their workplace. If they can't pay them, they should collapse the jobs. You see, companies are closing down because they can't pay jobs. If football clubs can't pay players, they should stop running football. The football people who say they are football people, who say that, look, create the enabling environment for them to thrive as entities. Yeah. But don't dip your hand in taxpayers' money and give it to them to pay their players. We don't do it. It doesn't happen that way. Instead, channel these monies into school sports. Channel these monies into developmental sports so that when these talents develop, they can represent the country. Don't go and give it to somebody who is going to pick his player from some place and hasn't been able to even groom the... Charlie, the people who are managing our clubs, when they send their players on trials in Belarus, the players can't stay there. The players are coming back. No, it's a serious matter. They are not doing the football well. No, seriously, our best players, where's Switchman Lamptey?
Where's Wilfred Kobna?
Where's Wilfred Kobna? Where's Kizito?
Where is Gideon Waja?
Yes, these are the quality of players. They are the Black Stars. When you look through the Black Stars, how many players played through the local league? How many of them? When we went to the World Cup, how many players in fact, the recent AFCON, how many players played in the local league? What it means is that those who are running our teams in Ghana, they are not producing anything to help the nation. We have to tell them, they have to be serious. The football people, they have to be serious. They are not producing talent for the national team. They are not. That is why we'll be begging Odoi, Hudson Odoi, to come and play. We'll go and talk to Tariq Lamptey, Edin Ketia, Connors Dorfer, will come and wear number 7. They are not doing their job. So they shouldn't, that policy is out. I beg, just thought JM and Baumia.
Okay.
Look, no, I finished right now. The long-standing policy of international stadia in all regions, it's not feasible. Even if they show me the source of funding, I told them that's misplaced priority. Ghana is not a country that needs 16 stadia. You don't need it. International, you see, and when you say international stadia, when you're going to host an AFCON, the minimum capacity you have to build is between 15,000 to 20,000.
20,000, yeah.
Right? So when you talk about international stadium, you're looking at...
And maybe the final, they'll ask you to be like a 40 or 50.
Oh, as for the final, there, boy,
yeah.
So minimum, you're telling me minimum every region you're going to build, you don't need it. However, the policy of building the sports development stadia, don't also build it. All you need to do is to complete, if you get the power, complete what the MPP started. Because the idea of the MPP with that 5,000 cap is brilliant. It's just, again, the implementation of that idea that has become a problem. So when they win the power, I was expecting JM and his team to tell us that we've seen what the MPP are doing. They failed to deliver the 10 they promised. When we come, we will investigate why they couldn't finish, and then we will complete it so that people can use it. If you come and tell me you're going to start afresh, what should happen to the one? Because if you win power, the next 4 years, MPP is not here. And if you don't complete those ones that they started, it means they'll be buried under the bushes.
Yeah.
So I was expecting the NDC to tell me that when we win power, we investigate why they didn't finish, and then we will complete it. That is...
But to be fair, right, even in the manifesto of the MPP, they never mentioned those uses.
Oh, but they've told us, they couldn't have mentioned it. When you've told us it's complete, how can you mention that's something you do?
Oh, come on.
No, let's be real. You've told us it is complete. How can you come back and tell us you do it? No, think about it. If they tell you that they finished this studio, how can anybody promise you that they will build a studio for you?
But we know some of them are not completed.
I'm saying, we know.
You don't get the point.
You don't get the point. It's not a reality.
Their silence is an admission.
To them, it is done.
No, their silence is an admission that they haven't done it.
Yes.
That's why they cannot put it in the manifesto.
Yes.
But putting it in the manifesto will be publicly admitting that they have failed to deliver on
Absolutely. Because if the thing is done, why do you put it in the manifesto?
We need to take a break. We need to take a break.
Oh, Muftau, finish.
Okay, finish up.
Oh, quick.
I need to do Premier League stuff. I beg.
Forget Premier League. Look, I understand this bit for both the NDC and MPP. Especially for NDC, this one. Establishing an emergency refurbishment of the pitches and tracks. You want to develop football, but you can't put on hold what's already going. So immediately, find money for the NSO, any authority in power, to put in order what we already have and is going astray. By now, Babaya Sports Stadium should have been good enough, minimum, to host.
The fear is even that
we might not play in Ghana.
We might not play in Ghana.
So if they come into power, sports still has to go on. Black Stars will have to play. So if you can find some money and then emergency, that's why he puts the word the emergency refurbishment of the pitches and the tracks. It's not bad. I like it. But the best one, there are two. Let me jump to them. The rest, the establishment of the sports excellence. The north, the middle, the south in zone. Brilliant. And then the best of all is the Winneba University of Education, Winneba. That is
Winneba Sports College.
That's Winneba Sports College. That is the genesis of the solutions to the sporting problems we have. Because in Ghana, we talk. But the people who need to be educated, right, to manage the sports is what is lacking. Look.
I get you.
By now, if they're able to establish that university, all PE teachers across secondary schools and junior high schools should have gone through such a system. By the time you leave the system, minimum, you're a licensed D football coach. Yeah. Minimum, volleyball, the minimum requirement to be a coach. The minimum requirement to be a track and field athletic, something coach. Yeah. So that when you go to the primary school, when you go to the secondary school, and you have your first contact with the talent, you are teaching that talent the minimum things that is required to groom the talent before the person becomes a pro. If somebody finished university, says I love football, it's a PE master. You get it?
Yeah. In our
then through that system, you are training sports psychologists, sports medicine people are coming. Then you are growing, you're having coaches. Give yourself some 7 years. Look, if you run that as a 4-year program, give yourself some 7 years and see the quality of people you'll be producing, the talents will be going through it. And it's when you do that with the middle belt and the northern sector, and if you are able to get students through inter-schools, and this one, it will run through GES. Yeah. So you are giving scholarships to the best athletes to go straight there, sponsor the education, find programs for them to enroll in. And that is the genesis of fixing the problems we have. Because those who treat our pitches, they don't have the ability. It's not their fault. It's the lack of knowledge. Yeah. It's the lack of knowledge. So in these schools, you are also training people who handle sports facilities.
But Sichu and Muftau, what happened to the 5,000 people the NPP and the YEA said they had trained in the youth in sports? Because they were supposed to do things like this. The pitch maintenance
I beg.
So Muftau,
Karim has to come.
Yes, Muftau. Let me.
Okay.
So I'm saying that
in 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds is too long. Those who are listening, those who are close to JL, priority 1 is that university. Every other thing is secondary. If he doesn't do that university and does all the other things, the lack of knowledge
will persist.
It will collapse all the other things. And as for the money, he shouldn't go and give any money to any Ghana Premier League team because they are failing. And they are not failing because of money. They are failing because as individual businesses, they become too comfortable and at times too pompous in calling themselves football people. So they need to produce the talents for us to see that in our Black Stars, you see, the talent they are playing under 17 and under 20. That's why you are not winning anything there. When we go to Wafu and things, it is true. Challenge you don't like the truth. You go on. You're the host, so go on.
SportsZone, my favorite sports program. Please, NDC and NPP, no one cares about Ghana development. what their program when they are in power, so they can put Ghana money into their pockets. No, you cannot say that. Also, good evening, Sports Zone. This is indeed the turning point for Chelsea. For United, their first game, which they won, was a scam. The reality is what we saw on Saturday, and there are many more dark days ahead of for them. Greetings to Chelsea fans in China. I'm Castro Steve from China. Okay, China in the upper east here. Watching from Bremen, Kutinanse, Central Region, I'm Danny Graham. Congratulations to Chelsea. And then, hello, I'm King James Kaswa. Chelsea will play the Champions League next season. Oh, but after one win. Please, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'll do the rest of the messages. And Karim will be here to let us have an idea about what Ghanaian players have been doing abroad. Syntax tank, very tough. I've just touched it and I felt it. So you need one. You need one for your house because they're strong and tough. Kivo 4-in-1 Gary. Soakings have become very easy. And then winner bag, which is winner big brother, which is cash, the flows, and then Guinea's Ghana. They have made it possible for us to bring you Sports Zone. My colleague, Abdul Karim Benin, the man from Bande. Today he's walked in with new shoe and new jacket.
What is it with new shoes and new jackets?
You're wearing new shoe, new jacket, and white
new
shirt.
jacket.
In fact, Buko Banku will say, a man can never be cautious until he wears a white shirt. Karim.
That's why Karim has avoided all kinds of contacts today.
I saw him. When he saw me, he walked past me as though he didn't see me.
No.
You Karim, it's me. Oh.
You can't stain his $300 shirts.
Karim, did I see you or not?
You didn't see me.
Did we meet or not?
Today,
Did you pass or not?
This is the first time I'm seeing you.
Of course, he won't see you.
Karim, what do you have for us tonight?
So, right now, if I come now, we are dash you $1 million. You go take or you no go take.
But do you hate yourself that much?
If I, yes or no?
Do you hate yourself that much?
How will I hate myself?
So why not keep the $1 million they want to give it to me?
No. I mean, me, I have enough. We are the dash.
So me, I don't have.
Oh, bugger.
Don't let him expose you.
You have enough.
Yes.
I also have enough, so keep your $1 million.
Okay, you deny.
Or maybe give it to Sicho as payment for making you...
No, I'll take it.
Wait, you deny. If we close, we won't even get out of the gate. Then you come and carry my...
I see... I see Semenyo, I see Beidou, I see Yeboah, Kudus, and all that, yeah.
All that I'm trying to say is that while you people are struggling with manifestos and trying to force people to help you develop players, I have mine already developed myself. So,
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How many of the players you've picked this week played in the Ghana Premier League before stepping out?
I can't remember any.
But the Ghana Premier League has not started. So
I'm saying
like
played in the Ghana
here
Premier League
and left to Europe or wherever they are playing.
None of them.
Thomas
this
Partey
guy-
played Tema Youth.
Ghana Premier League.
And
didn't play in Ghana.
Okay, they were in Division
None of
One.
them.
I think this guy, Frank Ajay, but he played for Brighton Chelsea, but he didn't get to the Ghana Premier League level before he left.
Yeah, so none of them.
There's
played
none.
Ghana Premier League.
So,
Okay. So the Premier League has not Ghana Premier League has not produced any player to play for a national team
no,
in
that's,
recent years.
I don't get the point. What Sicho is meaning is that.
At least here. I understand the message he said.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let me carry on. So from the second weekend of the new season, these are the best players from the weekend. So there are a few new names, and 4 of them have maintained their places from last season. One of those new names, he is here purposely for something, and that is the goalkeeper. I have extensive work to do on him when I come back. Let me continue to Jonas Ajay. He plays for Basel, and they won 2-0 against Verdun. And in that game, he won the most tackles, that is 4, and won the most duels as well, that is 10. And then Abdul Mumin, he's one of those players that have maintained his place in the team after completing 9 clearances for Rayo Vallecano, and they drew goalless against Getafe in the Spanish La Liga. Then Mohamed Salih, last week I said that he deserved a place in the team, and this week, with the consistent performances in those 2 games he has played for Monaco, and they won 2-0 against Lyon. In the 2 games, he won 100% of the duels he contested and was not dribbled past once. Monaco won 2-0 against Lyon. Unfortunately for his compatriot, that is Enes Nuama, after 17 minutes, he got injured and was substituted. Then Emmanuel Jesse, this is like, he's a survivor. I would describe him as a survivor. I think since his debut in 2021, he's not had a Black Stars call-up since then. And yesterday, that is for Empoli, they shocked AS Roma. I think Sicho watched that game.
Yeah.
They shocked AS Roma 2-1. And he was the one who scored the first goal for Empoli. And they won 2-1 away at
so
the
I
Olympic.
the agenda for him to be called to the Black Stars.
Whatever it is, if he deserves to be called, he will. And I don't even think he'll get a place there.
Okay.
So Thomas Partey doing normal things for Arsenal and scored his first goal of the season against Aston Villa. And then Frank Ajay Jr., he plays for Vanamo, and they drew 1-1 against BK Häcken, that is in the Swedish league.
In the Swedish.
And he completed the most dribbles and won the most duels in that game. Mohamed Kudus, like, he was just entertaining the fans, while West Ham were winning as well. Completed the most dribbles in that game, and that solo run. I have something special coming up. You see it.
You give him Gary? Also?
Yes.
Okay.
Kivo Gary Master.
Yeah.
So he took Kivo,
Yeah.
and he was enjoying himself.
And he was
on the
key.
pitch. Yeah.
He took Kibo and was key for West Ham.
Yes. And 27 back-to-back games, he provided an assist for Newcastle's goal against Bournemouth's goal against Newcastle, and they drew goalless. 2 games, he scored the opening game of the season, he scored, and in their second game, he provided an assist. Then Michael Bedu, he's doing so much for Elfsborg. He scored for them over the weekend. They won 3-1. And this season, today, I'm even seeing that he's being linked with championship clubs and also clubs in Austria. Then this guy made his debut for Kelvin Yabua.
Yeah.
You remember playing,
Yeah,
he was the one who
yeah.
rejected the Ghana call-up to go and play
Yeah.
for the Italy under
For
21.
Italians, yeah.
Now he's moved to USA, and he's playing for Minnesota United. And on his debut, he scored 2 goals for Minnesota, but unfortunately, they lost 3-2 to Seattle Sounders.
Okay.
So now let me move to the next one. This is what I want to do. On Friday, we saw news that the Ghana Football Association are in conversation with Rome Owusu Odro, 20-year-old goalkeeper born in the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
You put the call different. You can't produce keepers in this country.
Amsterdam, to be specific, and as I said, 20 years, he plays for AZ Alkmaar.
If his ancestors are from Ghana, he's a Ghanaian, so we can go for him.
the same team as Ibrahim Sadiq,
Yeah.
and another Ghanaian of the Netherlands is this in the Jedin Ade, and he's a goalkeeper, as I've said. Now let's look at his performances this season and what he has done to warrant those calls to be included in the Black Stars squad. Hopefully,
Okay. So let's see his performances.
Yes. So,
Benaya,
I don't know what is happening to my
Benaya,
paper.
give us the performances.
All right, so this is it. This season, he has played 3 games. He plays for both the first team and the team B. But the thing is that the first team plays in the Eredivisie,
Yeah.
and the second team plays in the Eerste Divisie.
Yeah.
That is the second tier
Second tier,
competition.
yeah.
And all of them are exposed to top competition.
Okay.
And the last 2 games he has played, all of them were for the first team, that is AZ Alkmaar.
Okay.
And in those 2 games, he kept clean sheets in them. He didn't concede. Those are the 2 clean sheets he has kept. And in the 1 game he has played for the team B, he didn't keep a clean sheet, but made 4 saves from that. So this season, if you look at it, that he's been like, the club has made it clear that he's going to be their number 1 goalkeeper this season. And in 3 games, he has kept 2 clean sheets. And let's look at the tournament that he has really made a name for himself. That is in the next slide. That is last season. They played in the UEFA Youth League, and in their run to the winning the title, he was one of their key players, and they won the title, beating Barcelona in the quarterfinal 3-0, a clean sheet there. Real Madrid in the run of one of those rounds 4-0, and Porto, when they met Sporting in the semi-final, he saved 2 penalties, and they won the semi-final to the finals, and they won Hajduk Split, a team from Croatia, and in that game, they won 5-0 as well. In those 9 games he has played in the UEFA Youth League, 9 games he has kept 5 clean sheets and conceded just 6 goals. Now, will he come and start for the Black Stars? Will he even accept to come? We'll wait to see. But if he comes, will he be the number 1?
Not Wallacott, Atizigi.
So for now, the kind of performances that Atizigi is putting up. In midweek on Thursday, they played in the Europa League qualifiers. Yeah. And in the game, he made, I think, 4 saves in that game. He was like, they played against Trabzonspor in the playoffs, and they drew goalless, if not for Atizigi, if not for him, like making 4 crucial saves to keep them in the tie. And hopefully, I hope they progress to the group stages of the Europa League. Now, the special thing is that I have all the goals of the scorers compiled in one video. So that is the gift I have for you today.
Let's go for the highlights of some of the matches that were played in the Premier League. We'll come back and wrap up the show. Those are some of the matches that were played in the Premier League. This one says that you guys spent more than 30 minutes talking political promises whilst the viewers are waiting for Premier League.
That is the future of our country.
Yeah, I was going to say the politics. This manifesto there, bear with us. It's more important than the highlights. Because the highlights we are watching, we want our players to be playing like that, not the way our local players have been groomed.
Okay, you've all said one of the things I was going to say.
We beg.
Because we have a responsibility towards the
country. It's far more important than.
So bear with us for that. And this one from Erosion in Tamale.
Hey.
You put a guess on it.
Yeah, Erosion. You have a name, Papa. He said NDC will deliver all their promises. Hopefully, they'll be able to deliver all of them. Gentlemen, let me come to you. Thomas Partey doing Thomas Partey things. Arsenal, first 2 games, 6 points for Mikel Arteta and his boys. Sisho, what is really working for this Arsenal team?
No, they've come of age. Arsenal have competed for the Premier League in the last 2 seasons. They've lost it narrowly. They are more experienced now. You cannot look at Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, Thomas Partey, and all the boys in this Arsenal side. They are used to this stage now. And they know these are the games that, even if they are not playing well, they have to find a way of grinding the victories, even as early as it is. A couple of seasons ago, the excuse would have been, oh, they are not ready, the league just started. But with the way City have pushed the point tallies in previous seasons, every game matters, every game counts. So for them to go to the Villa Park, a place where they struggled in the last couple of years, and get the victory, even though they didn't play as fluid as we've become accustomed to, it's a good result. And for our man Thomas Partey, I tweeted after the match day 1 that Arsenal must do whatever it takes to keep Partey fit. Because I like what Jorginho brings to the team. It's very similar. But Partey's pass selection is very vertical. So whereas Jorginho would go maybe either sideways at times or pick the short vertical pass, Partey's passing range and Partey's vision with pass selections are a lot better. It takes Arsenal forward quicker, and it makes the attack a bit more zapper. So yeah, they need to keep him fit. And I'm happy that he got his goal as well, and good win for Arsenal.
Let me come to Achu on Manchester United. In fact, there are many people who say that is the hope that kills. Where the new season, potential has already started for Man U fans. A defeat to Brighton and Hove Albion.
Under very similar circumstances to their previous defeats. And again, a performance that raises questions about the manager's suitability to the job, the ideas, the quality of those ideas, and the value he brings to the team. Because if you go back to the previous Man United defeats to Brighton and Hove Albion, it has been under similar circumstances. Even beyond this particular game, there's been so many games where Man United are unable to match up to the opponents. They are unable to hold out and defend when they need to. If you look at the numbers in terms of goals they've considered after the 90th minute, up until 2022, United had only considered a couple of goals, I think just about 2 in the entire history of the Premier League. But in just 3 years, Erik ten Hag's team have conceded about 6 of those goals. And sometimes you wonder what sort of investments from the transfer market is even going to change anything. Because yes, Ugarte might make the team a bit more solid, purely in terms of the profile on paper. But in terms of what the manager himself will be able to do, how he sets this team up to mask the errors. And that's the biggest problem for me. Year in, year out, the same mistakes that United get punished for are the ones that we are not seeing. They keep repeating, which clearly is a coaching problem. If the manager cannot find solutions to these problems, it's difficult to explain why he needs to retain his job. And as I said at the beginning of the season, Erik ten Hag has up until November. In my mind, he's a goner. I mean, if he's going to turn things around, oh yes, I mean, after 2 years, I think I've seen enough. 2 years is a long time it's sufficient time to form a basis about the manager and the quality of the work that he has done and what he can bring to the team. For me, from what I have seen over the 2 years, I don't think he's cut for the job at Manchester United. He might fit in at other clubs, but purely on the evidence of the quality of coaching we have seen, he hasn't done enough. And I'm afraid this might just be a season where United show promise for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they slumber for the next 2 months, then right back at playing well, and then they slumber through. And unfortunately, that's...
Fellow say you will get trouble, you think? You think you lie. So,
no, but if the man lied, the facts showed that what he said was not true. Why is it difficult for us to say that?
But sometimes you can quote the word.
No,
it is not a lie. What he said appeared to be untrue.
It does not appear to. You see, this is why it is. This is why. This is why people.
We've run out of time. You don't come to teach you. Chelsea, they won out Wolves 6-2.
Yeah, so it was. Look, I like the second half from Chelsea. The first half was very chaotic. Both teams, very, very bad mistakes. Players losing the ball, couldn't pass the ball around well. It was 2-2. I thought the game was going to end like 5-5 or 4-4. But Chelsea's second half was a lot better. And Wolves made a mistake, I thought they should have simply reverted to the normal back four. Yeah. Get Ed Norrie to stop reinverting into the midfield, get him to the proper left back, and let him deal with the space that Madueke was enjoying. They didn't do that. But what Chelsea showed in that second half was great. I like the energy and the pace with which they were playing. They were so rapid the way they played. And again, Cole Palmer comes into the number 10 role. Yeah. Right? Enzo Fernandez drops deeper. And all of a sudden, in the final third, Chelsea are looking better. I said it. Enzo can be on number 10 when Cole Palmer is on the pitch. He's a better footballer in that kind of space. And we saw him score, and we saw him give 3 assists. And Madueke has silenced some of the critics that he had at the start of the season. But the big question is, can we see consistency with these young yet talented football players at Chelsea? We'll see.
Talented football players at Chelsea. And maybe you're a Serie A football fan. This guy always, they get BP. Every week.
These days,
every week he was in the office. They had a tie in face. You're wondering what happened.
These days, I don't even love Serie A anymore. I just watch it for the sake of it.
Why do you walk to the office frowning your face? Because Man U lost the match. Now we cause him. Show proudly brought to you by Syntex Tank Air Strong Air Tough. Kivo Gary 4-in-1 mix. Gary soak is easy. And then winner bake. Cash the flows. 1 ticket, 2 chances. And Guinness Ghana, they have made it possible for us to bring you Sports Zone. I am Muftar Nabla. I've been doing this with Sichofe, Ashim Philip, and Victor at Youth Club. See you again next week, Monday.